Hi, I am going to test out the efficacy of some masks at preventing bacteria from exiting my mouth and entering the nearby space. Now, the way that I'm going to do that is I am going to use blood agar plates. And most of the bacteria in my mouth that are culturable will be culturable on this blood agar because it has blood and they like that. So I'm going to set up this experiment as follows. I need a control. I need a way to determine whether or not I actually have bacteria that are going to aerosolize and be captured on this plate. So in each experiment, including my control, I am going to open up one of these petri dishes and I'm going to hold it about 8 inches from my face in various iterations for a total of 2 minutes. While I sing at the top of my lungs, I'm in my car, so hopefully no one can hear me, and I will spare you that song, but it will be Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, for 8 times. And then I'm also going to throw in 3 coughs for good measure. And before I start any experiment, I am going to take a sip of water so that I can get my mouth nice and moist and kind of help that bacteria get out. Now, let's say that I capture bacteria here, but my masks prove to block the bacteria. What does that say? Bacteria are larger than viruses. So just because I trap bacteria doesn't necessarily mean I'll trap the smaller viruses either. But what it does show is that if bacteria are getting through the mask, then viruses most definitely are getting through that mask. And so in this way, we have some way to kind of quickly test the efficacy of various mask combinations. So I'm going to start by my control. So first a drink of water. Okay, here I go. I can tell you I'm really going to hate singing that 8 times. Dear God, I hope my neighbors don't walk by right now. They're going to be like, what are you doing singing into a petri dish? Okay, so I have closed this, and now I'm ready to start exploring my masks. The first mask, and I really just have my plates in kind of a random order here, says 1 layer jersey. Okay, so let me show you what this mask looks like. This mask is going to be 1 layer of jersey knit, like so. And I sewed it up real quick, so I just have 2 seams here. And then I've got these ear cutouts, which, I mean, I've seen on kind of like cheap logo designs for stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on. And you can see that the fit is not great. It's a single layer. It actually fits okay under my chin. I mean, some of them I see are like this. And so let's see, there's some gaps up there. Let's see how efficacious this one is. Here is my plate, and here we go. My students are going to wonder why I am hoarse tomorrow. 1 more cough for good measure. Okay, so now I'm going to seal this. And it is away. I can take this off. If you wonder why I'm doing this in my car, it's so that I have limited airflow, so that when I move the plate kind of around my face and try to move it like this, I know that wind is not blowing bacteria away. So it's meant to mimic kind of an indoor space. All right, next up, I have 2 layer cotton pleated. And for this one, so these are masks that I made. For this one, I'm going to use Disney villains, and it's actually a pretty tight fitting mask. What I have on this one is it's 2 layers, And there's actually a filter slit that I could put an additional filter in if I want, but I'm just going to try it as a 2-layer mask as is. And as you can see, it's actually got a really nice tight fit, like the CDC has recently been stressing. It's not so much the quality of the mask material as much as it is fit. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to sing yet again. Oh, you know what? I forgot to get my drink of water. All right, Whitney Houston, you are up. Make that a nice tight seal. Hey! Okay, I have finished this one. Whew. I wonder if Whitney Houston ever got tired of singing that song. I know I'm only 3 iterations into it and I am tired. Girl must have had some pipes. Okay, so next up, I have the latest CDC recommendation, which is 2 layers of cotton over a surgical mask. So in this one, I'm going to get the surgical masks that were prescribed by our school for our students. And I'm going to go ahead and put it over. And you can see that already I don't have a great fit. And in fact, this is probably one of the major issues with these masks, is it's not a great fit. Now I do have a nose wire that I can pinch there, and that kind of helps. But one of the reasons why it's recommended that we have these particular masks that go, the cloth masks over it, is because the cloth mask can kind of seal the surgical mask in place like so. So now I have a better fit around that surgical mask. And I can still breathe pretty well, so that's definitely a plus. All right, so let's try out the CDC's new recommendation, a tight-fitting cloth mask. It kind of seals the surgical mask to the face. So this really is an iteration of having like a filter inside one of the masks. Okay, let's sing again. Okay, I just finished. I will say that was hot. My face is now hot. I would definitely be sweating under there if it was summer and had to sing like that. Okay, so I can put that aside. So next up, oh, you can already tell I'm getting hoarse. So next up, I have a KN95. And this is one that I actually got at Home Depot. I really honestly have no idea if it's even, you know, certified. And so, but it's one that is pretty comfortable. It's got these little spaces in it that are a little concerning to me. I don't know why those are there, but we'll see how good it works. Okay, so you can see that I've got a nice tight seal. Let me get really tight there. And tight seal around here. All of this is pretty critical in order to get a good mask. I'm a little trouble there. Okay. Okay. Okay, one issue about that was that every time I opened my mouth to sing, you could see what happens to the mask. So, you know, I just let it, I kind of adjusted it a little bit, but in the end, I just let it be, because if you were like doing surgery or something, you couldn't be touching your face like this. So that was a little bit of a concern. I mean, most people are not singing at the top of their lungs and opening their mouth like I was, but, you know, that was a little bit of a concern. Okay, so drink of water. I only have 3 plates left, thankfully, which means 3 more renditions of Whitney Houston. Okay, my next one is a surgical mask all by itself. Now this is a fresh surgical mask. I'm not going to reuse the one that I just had. And so I'm going to go ahead and wear this by itself. And you'll notice it's very loose. And I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as is. I'm not going to make any adjustments. I'll kind of try to tighten that down a little bit. But I see this type of mask wearing all the time. I mean, people with just big gaps, you know, mind the gap, people, big gaps. And then, of course, this, right? This one's my favorite. And you have to ask yourself, whenever anyone is wearing it like this, down here, where do they swab for the coronavirus test? It isn't your mouth. Okay, so here we go. I took a drink of water. I am ready to sing. Okay, that was tiring. Whew. Okay, you can tell I'm definitely getting hoarse. See, I'm really singing. If you ever repeat this experiment, don't pick Whitney Houston. Pick something else. So I have two left, one of which is another control. But my other one, I am going to use this type of mask. This is like what's called a contour mask. I've made plenty of these. There's a seam in the middle, which is a little different than the pleated masks. This one is 2 layers. There's a seam on both sides. And this one fits me pretty well. So you can see, not too much in the gap way. Maybe a little bit down here, but otherwise it's pretty tight. And let's go ahead and, oops, before starting, I needed my drink of water. There we go. Okay, I am getting hoarse, as you can hear. So I have one more to do, and it is actually a second control. So the second control that I'm going to do is just like the first control. So why am I doing a second control? Well, I've been here in this car singing at the top of my lungs, clearly as you can hear, and taking water and trying to aerosolize bacteria. And, you know, the conditions have changed. The amount of bacteria that is coming out of my mouth may have decreased as I've gotten the original stuff out. Or maybe it's floating around here and, you know, things that I'm capturing on my other experimental plates are not through the mask, but from aerosolized bacteria from maybe previously. So I want to do one more control, and it really should match the first control. If the number of bacteria on my second control is significantly less than my first control, that indicates that I wasn't getting as much bacteria out as I progressed, which does happen because, you know, maybe my first couple real aerosolizations as I belted got all of the easy bacteria off, and now what's left is not as much or harder to remove out of my mouth. And then the other thing is that what if there's more on here, like a lot more? Well, that suggests that bacteria are aerosolized and that, you know, my experiment is probably not valid because bacteria from just the air could fall down onto this plate, irrespective of whether or not it's coming through my mask. All right, so this is my last one. I'll be sure to share the results with you and we can take a look at the efficacy of various masks. Wait for someone to go by before I start singing. Okay, here we go. And I will always love you. I will always love you.